Welcome back to The Awareness Angle, your weekly look at the cyber stories that actually matter. We take the news, cut out the noise, and talk about what it means for real people, real teams, and real behaviour. If it helps someone stay safe tomorrow, we'll talk about it today. I'm Matt Davis, and with me normally is Luke Pettigrew, but Luke's poorly this week. Luke's got the flu, so we wish Luke well and hope he gets better soon. Luke will be back next week, but you've got me this week on my own. And this is what you need to know. Don't forget, all opinions are my own and don't represent those of my employer. Right, this week, coming up on the episode, we have fake Windows updates using ClickFix installing malware, the OBR budget leak that was triggered by a predictable and then we've got Black Friday fake brand giveaways that surged, of course, but Black Friday's been and gone. Cyber Monday's here today, the day this episode's released. Right, all of that's coming up. Right now, let's get on with this week's Breach Watch. So the first breach we want to talk about today is London Council's cyber incident. So several councils in London have been hit with a cyber incident across multiple London boroughs. This has impacted services which have slowed and investigations are ongoing. If we look at the details here, Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea issued a statement revealing that it and Westminster City Council were responding to an incident identified Monday morning, so a week ago, a week after this is coming to air, but still ongoing. They've notified the ICO, Information Commissioner's Office, and are working with National Cyber Security Centre on incident response. It's impacted phone lines. If you've had an emergency, you can contact the council using the phone numbers at the top of their contacts page. So, massive impact. An interesting one, this, with the data that these people hold. I haven't really thought about it, but I was chatting to someone this week and they were raising the fact that this data on the demographics could be really valuable for political purposes. And if you think about it as well, they'll know what benefits people are on. They'll know their addresses. They'll know the support they get. They'll know who's vulnerable, who isn't vulnerable. So there's some really, really sensitive data held by councils. And of course, contact details for everybody that lives in that council area. So Kensington and Chelsea, Westminster City Council, anyone living there, there's going to be some fairly important, wealthy people living in there. So we'll keep an eye on that and we'll see what happens. Next one to talk to you about is OnSolve Code Red emergency alert breach. So this hit the emergency alert infrastructure. Agencies temporarily lost the ability to issue critical push alerts. I mean, that's terrifying, isn't it? So risk management company Crisis24 has confirmed its OnSolve Code Red platform suffered a cyber attack that disrupted emergency notification systems. These are used by state and local governments, police departments, and fire agencies across the United States. The cyber attack forced Crisis24 to decommission the legacy Code Red environment, which meant that emergency notifications, weather alerts, and other sensitive warnings wouldn't have been able to be sent. So, they're rebuilding their service by restoring backups to a newly launched Code Red platform, and the available data is from an earlier backup on March the 31st, 2025. So accounts will likely be missing from the system. So the backup that they're recovering to is over 6 months old. That's mad. Numerous counties, cities, and public safety agencies nationwide have reported on the cyber attack and disruption, stating they're working to restore emergency alert systems. Someone has taken responsibility. INC ransom gang. While Crisis24 only attributed the breach to an organised cyber criminal group, Bleeping Computer has learned that INC ransomware gang has taken responsibility. They created an entry for OnSolve on their Tor data leak site and published screenshots, which have obviously been blurred out by Bleeping Computer. They're a ransomware as a service operation that have been going for since July 23. Names you might recognise: Yamaha Motor Philippines, Scotland's National Health Service, food retail giant Ahold Delhaize, which I think we spoke about previously in a previous episode, and the US division of Xerox Business Solutions have all been victims of
INC ransom.
So, yeah, that's emergency alert. I mean, it goes to show that they don't really care who or what they're hitting, because the impact of that could be huge. Next breach this week is Harvard vishing breach. So Harvard reports that a vishing breach has exposed alumni and donor contact data. So they suffered a vishing breach which exposed emails, phone numbers, addresses, donation data, and biographical info. The breach systems didn't hold any social security numbers, passwords, payment, or financial information, but it has exposed spouses, partners, widows, widowers of alumni, university donors, parents of current and former students, and some current students, faculty, and staff. And it says here, Tuesday, November 18th, the university discovered that information systems used by alumni affairs and development were accessed by an unauthorised party as a result of a phone-based phishing attack. The university acted immediately to remove the attacker's access to systems and prevent unauthorised access. So, yeah. They advised affected individuals to stay vigilant for suspicious communications. Keep an eye out for phishing, phone calls, any kind of social engineering. Your details are out there. They know who you are. They'll know information they can use to convince you that they're. Harvard University is not having a good time of it, because they were also targeted in the Oracle e-business suite campaign, because the Clop ransomware group listed it on their leak site, and 1.3 terabytes of data was allegedly stolen from Harvard University. The institute downplayed that incident, explaining that the breach appeared to be limited to a small administrative unit. So, yes, not good, but a great example of voice phishing that is still happening, that is so successful. It's a good story to use to remind people why voice phishing is a massive threat at the moment. Absolutely. Right. Moving on this week, we've renamed this section What the Hack? Let's see if that sticks. So the first story I wanted to tell you about was a story by Joe Tidy, BBC. Obviously, he's the main cyber correspondent at the BBC that's been breaking all the stories around Scattered Spider and stuff. There was an article this week around scammers hacked her phone and stole thousands. So how did they get her details? And Joe opens this by saying data breaches are getting so common, it can be hard to know how to react when it happens to you. That's been my attitude for some time now. It's easy to shrug it off. I've said on this show, why do we still refer to have I been pwned? Can't we all just assume that we've all been pwned now? But when you've been involved in a data breach, scammers will use that information and target you. And this is what happened to Sue, who told the BBC how scammers went after her. They found that her details had been leaked online. So Sue was a victim of what's known as a SIM swap, and that's where the scammers trick your phone network into thinking they're you, and then they can switch your SIM card. So all of a sudden your phone number, your text messages start being delivered to a different device that isn't yours. And with that, obviously, they can take over many of your accounts, especially if you've got SMS authentication or phone authentication. So if you log into your credit card or your bank account on your phone, it will quite often send you 4 digits to confirm your identity. And that, with a SIM swap, that confirmation will go to someone else. So the scammers took over Sue's Gmail account. Then they locked her out of her bank accounts because she'd failed security checks, or because they failed security checks. She had a credit card opened in her name, and the criminals purchased more than £3,000 in vouchers. It took her several trips to branches of the bank and mobile phone provider to get her accounts back. They then broke into her WhatsApp, which of course you can do because that's associated with a phone number. And then they sent messages to horse riding groups she's in, warning there were people on the way to stab the horses. It's absolute madness. So they searched hacker databases using tools like Have I Been Pwned and Constellar Intelligence. Her phone number, email address, date of birth, and physical address were all exposed in data breaches from Paddy Power in 2010 and an email validation tool, verifications.io, in 2019. Other compilations of hacked records also included her details. So they'd have used this to conduct the SIM swap, and once they've got her number, you think, you can reset your account often with a phone number through a text message. So this is a prime example of how do you protect yourself against this. You need to keep aware. When you get a SIM swap, you'll normally get a notification that your SIM stopped working. Don't dismiss that. If you get a message that your SIM has stopped working, contact your service provider with a different device, lock things down. That's really important, I think. But yeah, we'll put a link to that in the newsletter. If you want to get the newsletter isn't sent by email anymore because most people get it on LinkedIn. So you can go to LinkedIn, search for the awareness angle, or search for me, Ant Davis or infosec Ant on LinkedIn, and you can get that. We'll put a link to that story in the newsletter. Another story this week on What the Hack, OBR Budget leak. And this one is it a cyber story? Well, OBR, the Office for Budget Responsibility in the UK, they've drafted in a leading cybersecurity expert. The budget was delivered this week. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, delivered the budget, which sets the UK's government finances and their plans. Normally, that's all very, very confidential until Rachel Reeves or whoever is the Chancellor stands up in Parliament and announces what's happening, and then people on the other side go, and then all complain about it. Well, this week, 40 minutes before she announced the budget, it was leaked. It was made available. And I don't think they need a cybersecurity expert, definitely not a leading one, to probably find out what happened with this. This is hilarious. Even though the document was not listed on the OBR website, journalists, including those at the BBC, were able to access it by guessing its URL, guessing the web address, which was very similar to one used in a previous official document. What would it be? Like OBR Budget 2024? I wonder if this year's is 2025. I wonder if next year's will be 2026. I'm guessing it was something as simple as that. They've opted for what's called security by obscurity. Like, let's just put it live, but not tell anyone the web address. But obviously it's really, really easily guessed. People are inquisitive naturally by their very nature. So, yes, they don't need a leading cybersecurity expert in to probably tell them what went wrong there. It's not a hack. It's a oopsie. It's a great example for passwords as well, right? If you've got a password that you have to change frequently, which isn't, I mean, I saw a discussion on that on Reddit this week, but passwords, you shouldn't have to change them often. NIST advises non-expiry passwords, long and strong, never expire. But the reason you don't let people change their passwords frequently is because they'll put a 1 at the end. And then next time they'll go, okay, I'll put a 2 at the end. And then next time they put a 3 at the end. And then next time they put a 4 at the end. And that pattern, if you see a list of passwords and there's, really strong password 4, if that doesn't work, maybe I'll try 5, and maybe I'll try 6. And it's the same with years and ages and that kind of thing. So yes, this is security. It didn't appear to be a cyber attack, says Patrick Burgess, cybersecurity expert with BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT. It didn't appear to be a cyber attack, he says, but instead a straightforward data handling mistake. The solution was to normalize and randomize file names so that unpublished material could not be discovered earlier than intended. This is a reminder that good cyber practice often starts with good digital housekeeping, he said. And he's not wrong. This is exactly why it would be good. And by all means, when it's time to go live, give it a nice, easily presentable URL and document name. But before go live, make sure it's obscure. Don't publish it in the hope that people won't find it. Moving on to the next story this week, and this is ClickFix, one we've spoken about many times before. ClickFix attack uses fake Windows update to push malware. So ClickFix is something, it's everywhere at the moment. This is where a website or something will tell you to press Windows key and R, opens a run box. Windows key and V, Control and V, which is paste, and then press OK. And essentially what that does is this website or program, whatever it's got, will automatically place something on your clipboard without you knowing it. It asks you to run a run box, open a run box, and then paste some code in. And you don't know what it does. I've got a screenshot here, which is really, really... I get why this is successful. It's terrifying and it shouldn't be this easy. But I get why this is successful. Let me just make this bigger. Here we go. So we can see here, this is off Bleeping Computer. Working on updates. Please do not turn off your computer. This looks like a genuine Windows splash screen. Working on updates. Please do not turn off your computer. Part 3 of 3. Check security. 95% complete. Attention! To complete the update, install the critical security update. Step 1. Hold Windows, press R. Step 2. Hold Control, press V. Step 3. Press OK and enter. So there's a few red flags here. Number 1, the font's slightly off. It looks slightly off in places. There's also some strange kerning and weights of fonts, bolds and normal, which doesn't this Microsoft have better final. That Microsoft looks better than this. This isn't the best looking page. Also, to complete the update, install the critical security update. Just that is clunky language. But many people will fall for this. This will be incredibly successful because it looks okay. And not everyone's as familiar with this screen as we are, as I am. And most people won't do this. We tell people to install their updates and how important it is to install their updates. Is that enough? Do we need to tell people what an update looks like and what not to do? This is a behavior no one should ever have to do. And that's a message that you can send out to your people. Your people should never have to press Windows key and R and then Control and V. Just those two actions. Unless a very, very much trusted and verified individual on the end of the phone or on a remote session that they trust from their organization is doing that, no end user should be doing those, because there be dragons. You know, that's like, you know what you're doing if you're doing that. And we can see here it's referring off to some web address to download fifx.odd. So, yeah. It's a great example of ClickFix. It's a great example of what people should be careful of. That's a screenshot that's on Bleeping Computer, and that's a good story to tell your people. ClickFix is here, there, and everywhere at the moment. It's very successful. Until Microsoft does something around that Runbox. I don't know what it will do, but Microsoft probably need to make some changes to that because it's just being weaponized left, right, and center at the moment. So, yeah. Right, moving on this week. Let's go to the next one. We have Scam of the Week. Let's do this one. It was Black Friday last week. The day this episode released, it's Cyber Monday. So, Black Friday is supposed to be chaotic. Sure, but not this chaotic. This is a report from Malwarebytes. And we can see here they're monitoring malvertising, malicious advertising patterns ahead of the holiday rush. Stefan Dasic from Malwarebytes uncovered one of the most widespread and polished Black Friday scam campaigns circulating online. He says it's not a niche problem. Malwarebytes' own research shows that 40% of people have been targeted by malicious advertising, malvertising, and more than 1 in 10 have fallen victim. Malicious ads hidden on legitimate websites, users are silently redirected into an endless loop of fake survey reward pages, impersonating dozens of major brands. I've seen those so much, and I think I've once or twice, I've probably completed them in the hope of receiving some discount or something. Yeah, not great. Scale became impossible to ignore more than 100 unique domains, and apparently this is an industrialized malvertising operation built specifically for the Black Friday window. The attackers have deliberately selected big name, high trust brands, impersonations of brands like Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, Louis Vuitton, Coca-Cola, Yeti, Lego, Works, UORX, PopMart, the Labubu people, Love Honey, PetSmart, Starlink, Lululemon. So, yeah, they're calculated. If people are shopping for a Lego Titanic set, a Yeti bundle, and a Lululemon style hoodie pack, scammers know exactly what bait will get clicks. So, congratulations. Complete this short survey and receive up to $100 cash value. This expires soon. Yes, and these all look familiar. They kick off with an invisible redirect chain, polished survey about brand, survey about Lego will appear with a lovely reward box. There's a countdown timer, a blurred background, and then, yeah, some examples of rewards are Yeti Ultimate Gear Bundle, Lego Falcon Exclusive or Titanic Set, Coca-Cola Mini Fridge, Louis Vuitton Horizon Suitcase, And there's a bunch of screenshots. Let me just get these up so anyone watching can see these. They blur out the background to make them look legitimate. Let's just get those a bit bigger. We can see here. Dear Lego customer, you've been chosen for the chance to receive a Falcon exclusive. For your chance to claim your Tier 1 reward, answer a few quick questions regarding your experience. This is available until November the 20th. Obviously, November the 20th is gone, but this will continue. You can see here, this is the same format for all these brands. Yeti, United Health, Louis Vuitton. And it uses, we've done similar with this before. We talked about backpacks weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Decathlon, stock clearance. Only one reward left. Offer expires in 6 minutes. A small processing or shipping fee applies. So all of this, is dangled to try and get you to do stuff. The final step, a shipping fee. Users are funneled into a credit card form. Here we go. Requesting full name, address, email, phone, and your complete credit card details. So for this small amount, even persuasive nudges like receive $2.41 off when paying with MasterCard, because the criminals like MasterCard and will take your details and use them elsewhere. So you've got to be really, really careful. Anything that asks you to pay the shipping, but if it's a big ticket item and all it's asking you to do is pay shipping, be cautious. I think if you're on Bandcamp and there's a free CD, just pay shipping. I've seen other small bands say, we're giving away our CD for free, just pay for shipping. That's different, right? Because that's a band, it's probably small, it goes to a website you can probably trust. It's not a big ticket item like a £300 Millennium Falcon from Lego that you're going to get for £6 shipping. Oh God, if you could get that for £6 shipping, that'd be amazing. So look, there's technical patterns across the scam. Obviously most people won't be able to look for those. But there are patterns like repeated out of stock soon, one left mechanics. The other thing is the visuals on those were all really similar. Let me just scroll back up to the visuals. The interesting thing at the top of these, and if you're listening, sorry, you won't be able to see these, but I might put this in the newsletter. The brand, the banner at the top of these pages that says Coca-Cola, Home Depot, Lego, Louis Vuitton. That's just raw text. That's not a brand logo. There's no strong branding in here. Now, if you see this screen and it has branding, that doesn't mean you should implicitly trust it, because branding's really easy to do. But it's interesting that these have all been replicated and all of these logos are all in raw text. They're not branded. That is immediately a giveaway. If Coca-Cola were doing this, that would be a Coke logo. If Lego were doing this, that would be a Lego logo. But it would look a bit better than this if they were doing it, I think. So yeah, look, Black Friday is here. Just be really, really careful with it, I think, is my important message for that. Right, moving on this week. Last thing I wanted to tell you was I went to CIISec Live, the Chartered Institute of Information Security live event. I went there on Tuesday last week. And it was at Hilton Heathrow Terminal 5. And it was great. I'd never been to one of these events before. Saw lots of familiar faces, which was lovely, and met some new faces, which was great. But the conversations largely were around the human, which I thought was refreshing. And there was a keynote by Joe Tidy, which was great. Joe Tidy from the BBC, which was a bit of a deep dive and a bit of a reminder about some of the hacking groups and hacking events that had happened 10 years ago. He was talking about, I think, Lizard Squad that hacked PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, and was diving deep into one of the hackers that he'd actually spoken to. So that was a really interesting story. One of the interesting conversations, there was a panel discussion, fireside chat thing about, it was called Tracks to Tarmac, and it was about the impact on transportation infrastructure. And it was great because you had representatives there from rail and aviation. And one thing that really hit with me was the transparency that they have in the aviation industry. In cybersecurity, we quite often hide mistakes, or organisations don't always come forward and be as transparent as they should because PR teams get involved, and there's fears of, being found negligent and large fines from the ICO, and that just kind of encourages a little bit of cloak and dagger kind of, you know, let's not tell everyone the full details because it'd look bad. They don't have a choice in aviation. They have to be fully transparent. And I think that's evident. Airbus have just done a massive recall on a bunch of, was it Airbus have just done? I think Airbus have just done a massive software patch on a whole bunch of planes, which is going to cause widespread disruption, but it has to be done. And they have to tell everyone about it. They can't just roll it out secretly, which I think is great. And I think we need to do more. I think we need to do more with that as well. And in cybersecurity, it doesn't happen. Someone rightly raised the fact that it doesn't happen because people are fearsome of fines. But if we're all transparent and we all say everything that goes on, surely it'll be better. I know that was a conversation. There was different approaches taken with M&S and Co-op and other people affected by scattered spider. Some people have been very open to that. Some people haven't. Asahi, I saw Asahi this week announced the you know, they've been incredibly transparent around their current data breach that they've had. And I think it was this week they actually announced it was 2 million records, you know, were breached or something. So they've done really, really well to do it. So yeah, transparency in aviation is envied. And I think if we could get to a place, culturally, it has to change top to bottom. Like the whole approach to cybersecurity. We need to remove blame completely and just be really transparent. But that's me. Right. I think that's all of the news this week. It's probably going to be a shorter episode because you're here listening to me witter on my own. I've got no one to bounce off this week, which is fine. Come back, Luke. Right, so let's move on to some content. Let's move on to some topics. So I've got some stuff here. Luke's provided me with some topics, and I'm going to share these. I haven't watched them, so you'll be seeing my reaction to them, but I'll talk you through them as well. As normal, Luke's provided me with some TikTok, which is great. This looks like a Frankie coffee machine, and it's £1.40 for an espresso. It's £2.40 for an Americano. He's tapped. What did he do on this?
Double tap. 1, 2.
Double tap the top left corner of the screen, and then a number pad comes up.
1, 1.
He's typed in 1111 and pressed OK, and he's into an admin menu. My settings. Set drinks. So there's all the drinks displayed, but with no prices next to them.
So double espresso. Press this.
Presses an edit button.
Get yourself a cup.
He's getting a free coffee, isn't he? Taste. Press the taste button.
Double, mate.
And it's going ahead and making the coffee. Well, there's a great video to share with people why you should change your default password, isn't it? That's it's got on the screen now. It just shows brewing time and cycle time and grind quantity and brewing quantity. I mean, that's also like you could just destroy all the settings on all the drinks. You could probably rename them as well, so you could give them custom names like cup of black caffeine mist or something. Yes, now he's got his coffee. I think that's done. He's pressed cancel. He's pressed close. And then he's pressed exit. And it's all back to normal. So I feel slight guilt there, like I've shown you how to get a free coffee. Maybe I should feel guilty about that. I don't know. It's on TikTok anyway. Default passwords. That's a great one. Thank you, Luke. Yeah. Change your default password. 1111 is not good enough default password. Absolutely not. Right. I've got another one here that Luke shared. Also TikTok. Again, I've not watched this, so I don't know what it's about. This is AI scam call insights. Understanding AI calls. Ooh, this sounds interesting.
This is a PSA for those who will probably go through this in the future, and a story to relate to if you've gone through this. Today I received a phone call at work. Not unusual. Usually I let them go through, but I was kind of expecting a call, so I pick it up, and my sister answers the phone, and she's hysterically crying. And I ask her, what's going on? Why are you crying? And she tells me, I need you to pick me up. I need you to pick me up. And I can't really understand everything that she's saying because she's hysterically crying, but it's definitely her. So I'm like, okay, I'll go pick you up. Where are you? And she continues to cry. and I tell her to calm down. And eventually this man tells her in the background, I'm gonna like go ahead and give me the phone. I'll talk to him. Like, you need to calm down. And so he picks up the phone, and I ask him, who is this? He just tells me, oh, my name's so and so. I have your sister here. She's in the back of my car. And I'm thinking, okay, this is a first responder. This is a police officer at the accident. Okay. Is she okay? Where is she? And he tells me she's fine. She's okay. She wasn't hurt. She was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I tell him I need to go pick her up. Where's she at? And he tells me, so listen, I need you to go to a secluded area. And so I go in the back office, and I'm in the back office, and I go, so tell me what's going on. And he tells me, your sister was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She's not injured. However, I'm a member of this cartel. And right when I heard that, I was like, this is a scam. I remember a year ago, I watched a video on this. An older man got a phone call from someone claiming to be his son. It sounded exactly like him, and it was AI. And they tried to get him to pay the money. So I immediately hung up. I called my dad, and I asked my dad, where is my sister at? And he goes, oh, she's here with me, because they live in the same house. And I'm like, okay, thank God. So the whole time I was being frantic, thinking my sister was in this car accident because it's been raining in Southern California, and luckily she was at home. But just so you're aware, AI is capturing people's voices. I don't know where from, either social media. Sometimes you'll get scam calls. Sometimes you'll get calls and you'll pick up and there's no one on the other line, and you're saying hello, hello, hello. And they're capturing your voice, and they're taking that and they're using and putting it into AI, and they're using it to scam your loved ones. So please make your loved ones aware of this situation, and that this is happening, especially in the time that we live now, where AI is running rampant across the globe.
I wasn't really going to play all of that, but I was enthralled by what happened there. Yeah, he goes on to say, actually, I've muted it, but her sister is not on any social media. She's very aware of the dangers being on social media, especially if posting your voice or video, any of that. So he has no idea how they got her voice. That's the crazy part. Be careful. Wow. And yes, and this is exactly what I have with my mum. Ensure that you have some sort of passphrase or some sort of something to let your family members know that you're actually speaking to them. This is like, it's amazing, isn't it? How in this current day and age, we have to revert back to the ways of old to like defend ourselves. I was having this conversation, was going to do a talk on this or bring this up in a talk about, it's like when spies meet each other and they come up with some slogan or some phrase that they have to confirm their identity with. So it's like, the river is dark at night, and it's like, not on my side of the river. And there's that like call and response type thing. It's yeah, I find it incredible that with all this technology now, we have to revert back to the old ways to defend ourselves, which is incredible. Really, really incredible. Yeah. It's a great video. Again, really good one to share. Where did they get her voice? They probably don't need much. Hysterical, like man or woman, sounding hysterical. You probably only need a few phrases, and then is it AI? It could just be someone impersonating. It's probably AI, but yeah. Good catch, Luke. Thank you for that. Right, there's one more video that Luke shared with me this week, and I love these guys. We've showed them on here before, but this is great. We bought AI shopping scams so you don't have to. And this is the Corridor Crew, right? Corridor Crew, group of VFX artists. They post regular videos on here, like reacting to comments and AI and visual effects. But this one is on shopping scams. So they've bought AI shopping scams. This is a great one to share with your people because
all the images are not going.
So there's a few things they cover in here, and I'll just quickly whiz through these. I won't go on a deep dive. But they're talking about Etsy. Okay, now Etsy used to be a great place. If you went to Etsy 5 years ago, probably during COVID, probably any time before AI, you could buy good crafting stuff. I've bought some lovely oak stained shelves cheap off Etsy because someone in a garage got some, you know, scaffold boards and stained them and put some brackets with them and then sold them on Etsy. Etsy used to be a great place to buy crafts.
I love that it's specifically a stepmom gift.
When you're specifically buying holiday.
So look
at
on
that.
here.
It's like a sweet like Tonka excavator.
They're showing this excavator and it's a Christmas bauble. It looks like a Bob the Builder excavator with presents in the scoop and a Santa's hat on top, covered in fairy lights. And it looks lovely, but when they actually they order this, right? And when they actually get it,
look identical. It's just this also has an outline of glass around it, and that clearly does not.
It's a plastic print off.
That's not the case.
No, I mean it does look identical. It's
It's
just
a plastic print off on clear vinyl of it. There's another one they do on here. And this one's quite interesting. They talk about Carhartt jumper that they buy cheap online. And it looks really good quality. It looks thick, like it's made of leather. It's not quite Carhartt style. They order it and they say it feels like a fancy dress costume. But they go in to talk about the reviews on this and how the reviews. Let's have a look.
Good in this, man. I like the way that it squeaks when I move.
I love this review. 5 stars. As a college student living in this hoodie, super soft inside, keeps me warm during late night study sessions in my leather shirt.
Notice the length of each of these comments are almost identical.
Yeah, you're right.
Decent punctuation. Most people don't do that.
At 65, I've purchased many sweatshirts over the years. Have you expressed your opinions about sweaters to people and people like discount your age for some reason? It's like, nah, he's 65. There's no way he knows anything about sweaters. As an outdoor enthusiast,
They're all establishing
as
who
a
they
college
are.
student,
Yeah.
my grandson, my college student, as someone who works from home.
As someone currently wearing the sweater, 2 stars because it exists. At least I got something. It smells like a tent.
This type of
The skeleton sweater is an interesting one. This sweater that they've seen, Fun Bibby men's Halloween skeleton art knit hooded sweater. So this looks like a knitted sweater with like a full kind of skeleton in like wool on top of it, like arms and front. It looks like an incredible piece of craftsmanship.
Isn't that amazing? There's like this level of depth where it looks like you can see knitted rib bones through the shirt.
Yeah, you can see the back rib bones.
That's amazing.
Isn't that incredible how they do that?
He bought the jumper and he's about to give it to
This is actually
one of
really
his
cool. I would
other
love to
people.
wear something like that.
Perfect, I got it for you.
Is this stained with like freaking butter? Like, what is this?
I think even if you're listening to this and you're not watching this, I think that you still get the impression just from the pause and the noise and is this stained with freaking butter?
Because he likes skeletons.
Dude, Sam's a good gift buyer. Carhartt, got me a Carhartt.
You can see this is just a cheap sweater with all of that. It's even got the wool pattern printed on the cheap sweater. It's pretty disgusting. But there's loads of these on online sites. It looks like an AliExpress or someone like that. Fun BB
we're in an era
is the
where
website.
You have to do your due diligence before clicking purchase. You can't trust the images you're seeing. You need to do a deeper dive.
We'll put that video on the newsletter, so if you want to watch it in detail, it's an enjoyable watch. Yeah, you can watch that. Right. I had a fun one to share with you this week. This was something I saw on Reddit. Let me just share this with you now. It's literally just a screenshot of a tweet by Vincent Yui, VY Security. And it says, add a colon to your password because all the Stealer logs have colons. So it'll end up splitting your password incorrectly. I think that's quite funny. Yeah, somewhere in your password, put a colon and it will split it. So it won't, if it does get breached, it won't be as easy to use. The Reddit thread then obviously descended into chaos and people saying most password fields won't let you use a colon in your password. And the response to that was, that means they're storing it in plain text. Someone else said their password is password 123 semicolon drop table passwords. Obviously, yeah. So, yes, that's a fun little bit there. There was one more thing, and if anyone follows me on social medias, follows Risky Creative on Instagram or me on TikTok or LinkedIn, I need to issue a correction. And this is isn't something I've done. I think we might have done it once before when ChatGPT messed up some numbers for us. But I recorded a video right after recording last week's episode, because news broke at around that time, that Gmail can read your emails and attachments to power its smart features. Lots of people reported this last week. Malwarebytes issued a report that basically told you to change 2 settings in your Gmail because they were training their AI on the contents of your emails. Malwarebytes issued a correction, and they've been quite transparent in it. So, update November 22nd. We've updated this article after realizing we contributed to a perfect storm of misunderstanding around a recent change in the wording and placement of Gmail's smart features. The settings themselves aren't new, but the way Google recently rewrote and surfaced them led a lot of people, including us, to believe Gmail content might be used to train Google's AI models, and that users were being opted in automatically. After taking a closer look at Google's documentation and reviewing other reporting, that doesn't appear to be the case. So really good of Malwarebytes being transparent. Yeah, it pays to verify and double check. And let me leave you with that little takeaway this week. It pays to verify, double check, and double check again. The last note this week is I am on a session with Layer 8. Layer 8 are obviously the experts in champions initiatives. They are Sarah and the team there. I've used them. We got them in to talk to us, to help us, energize our champions network that we had. And they did a great job. This isn't an ad. It's not a sponsored listing or anything like that. But they did a great job at helping us get some direction and navigation about where we should go next. They've collated an independent report on champions. They've gone out there and asked everybody for details about what they do with their champions and how they can build, and what successes they've had and what failures they've had. And we're going to dive into that report with an early first look. So yes, really, really looking forward to that. The Layer 8 Impact Report. Initial themes, trends and use cases emerging from the survey. So you'll get an exclusive first look at the most pressing challenges facing security awareness practitioners, understand the themes and trends likely to dominate 2026. You'll be able to tailor the output for your needs, telling Layer 8 what you need most from this report. So they're going to listen to you. Like, what do you need this report to tell you? What do you need to know about champions to build a business case, or to energize, or to enhance your champions initiative? And you can join in and take part of the survey real time. So yes, that's Wednesday, the 3rd of December, 3:00 GMT in the afternoon. I'm going to be on there. I am the guest editor of the Impact Report, which I'm incredibly flattered to take part in. So yes, Wednesday, 3:00. Details will be in the newsletter if you want to join and subscribe and take part in this great piece, first piece of open source champions-based research. Right, that's all we've got. I'm losing my voice because I've talked for 52 minutes all on my own without anyone to bounce off. Luke will be back next week. Thank you, if you're still listening, for sticking around with me as I witter on through this week's cyber news. As always, if you see anything you think we should know, if you see a topic that we should talk about, get in touch, hello@riskycreative.com. But from me and from Luke on his sickbed, we'll see you soon, and we'll be back next week. See ya.